And I think we all woke up to some pretty good news this morning. I mean, all of us except for maybe the royal family. Prince Andrew, just Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew, is going to jail. And God bless. You send child molesters, child abusers to jail. That is what we do. That is what society is supposed to do. And you know what? Reading through, so I've been transcribing all these Fergie emails, which are very relevant, and I suggest you read them. I posted them yesterday in 4 parts. The relationship that Fergie had with Epstein was a little unexpected. I did not think that she was so enmeshed, especially considering, you're sliding, especially considering, the messy divorce, but she was still in love with Prince Andrew too. So it was just this big, wild mess. But at some point, Fergie made a statement to the Evening Standard, which is a London newspaper or magazine, I can't remember, which then was republished in the Telegraph, which is more like a tabloid, which tabloids have a different role in England than they do here. They're major newspapers, like we think, LA Times, New York Times, Boston Globe, like we think of national newspapers, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post. I think more than half of their major newspapers in England, in London, are tabloids. So when you think of how bad the tabloids are there, you think about having to Princess Diana because of the tabloids. The tabloids are rampant, they're vicious, but they also control the media in Britain. So at some point, who's calling? Get at it. At some point, somebody interviewed Fergie, and because she had no filter, or because maybe she had an ounce of decency, she called out Epstein as being a pedophile, even though they were close friends. Instantly regretted it. Instantly, obviously Epstein called her out on it, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't exploded, man." Whatever. But in so doing, she had to write a letter. She had to write a letter, thank you, of apology to him that he was gonna either leak. He and his PR people were considering leaking it, which they discussed in emails, or they were just going to publish it, put it in a newspaper and publish it. And in that, one of the defenses of Epstein was that the things he was arrested for, so this was 2011, so we weren't even talking about, how big the case had gotten yet by then. But one of the defenses of him being arrested in 2008, it's very downplayed. It wasn't a big deal. I wasn't arrested for this. I wasn't arrested for that. But one of the defenses was if he had done what he'd done in England, he wouldn't have been arrested for it. But in England, everything he did was legal, which is, BS. We know it's BS. Maybe consensual to be 17 in England, but it's not consensual to be 13 in England, or 14 in England, or 15 in England. And so that was one of their defenses. That was one of Fergie's defenses. That was the PR team's defense, was he wouldn't have been arrested in England. Well, here we are 15 years later, and Prince Andrew is being arrested for the crimes that Epstein did in England and in America, and they are willing as a country to arrest him. So anybody in America that has committed these crimes should be being arrested right now. I think and England's going to be the last country in the world to do the thing, right? Everybody else is going to throw whatever leader to the wolves hung out with Epstein because they don't want anything to do with the Trump administration. And they're just like, screw you. If you hung out with Epstein, if you hung out with Trump, you molested kids, bye-bye. we're done with you. England is going to be the last one to do that because England is really wrapped up in American politics. The British family is very wrapped up in the Trump administration. And so to see them do that, one of two things, or two thoughts. One, kind of astounding, could mean that something's about to happen in America. Ball is rolling downhill. But two, and I said this on Dean and Zev's show, the royal family does not do that. The royal family does not call things out. I know we say keep calm and carry on, whatever, but like their motto, their unsaid motto, and I've heard this from the lips of Prince Harry at his kitchen table. The unsaid motto of the royal family is never complain, never explain. And they stick to that like hard and fast till the day they die. They don't comment on controversy. They don't comment on politics. They don't comment on anything within their family that's controversial. They don't comment on Diana. They don't comment on Meghan. They don't comment. If somebody is being racist against Meghan on the day she gives birth to her child, they will not comment on that. Obviously, that's awful. So I do not agree with their not commenting. But them calling out Andrew, to me, what that says is not that they have seen the light and they're like, oh, we should do the right thing. It's not that. I don't think they care about that. I think what it is there's a bigger story within the royal family that they are willing to sacrifice Andrew to protect whatever that other story is in this situation. I've not read anything about King Charles or Camilla in the files, but Fergie is obviously there. Not that they care about Fergie. She made a good point. She said that no female royal has ever left the family with their head, right? No, in history, no woman has ever left the royal family with her head. And she said, obviously now that's metaphorical, but it is a good point. But also like, ugh, Fergie. So I'm hoping that there's a fire under the rear ends of congressional leaders on the Republican side today. I don't think the Democrats have any problem with this, other than that they're just being the weakest wet blankets, that need to be replaced. But the Republicans, who have been devoted and probably have not enjoyed the last year of their lives, they got to be ready to go and ready to just be like, I'm done. I'm just done with this. Like, I don't really know what the end goal is. They're fighting for a guy who's, obviously clearly already, like I talked to MAGAs, they're like, oh, if the evidence proves that he molested children, then I will turn on him. And I'm like, well, he's already been convicted on 34 counts. He's already been convicted of raping E. Jean Carroll, and he owes her $83 million. Like, I don't really know where you're looking for like morality here. And I don't know if I offer you evidence, like 3.5 million pages of it, you would believe it. So there's that. But I don't really know what the end game is because they're fighting for a guy who likely did everything, but also like he's in the end stage of his life. Like there's no end game here where you're just like, we won, we were right, and now we get to have this beautiful presidency and politics for the long term. Like that doesn't exist. They should be planning for like what they want to do next, right? That's the point of politics in the future of your country. You make plans about what to do next. What is your next goal and what do you want for your country? Like they're not really planning that. They're very like today focused. They're treading water and trying to survive, which that's got to be fun. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thank you for joining me for my TED Talk at 8:29 in the morning, East Coast time. I'm tired. I need coffee. I'm going to go sit down and start digging through some things on Dershowitz. but I'm going to keep an eye on the news. But you know what? Take these little victories, because this is not that little. This is a big deal. How many people have we seen go down this week? And they're mostly men. That's change. That is a change, Before we had people going down, but it was women. So I am hopeful, and I will not be hopeful. So I hope I can spread that hopeful love to all of you. Okay. I'm going to go research, and I'm going to go write, and I'm going to go do the thing. And I hope you guys have a good Thursday.